I was muted. These things happen. But anyway, welcome everyone to another great episode of To Be Diced Adventures. I am your humble GM, Michael St. Gregory, and once again we have a couple of tales in the past of our long-running now. We've done 10 episodes prior to this of Frontiers of Eberron, our Weird West campaign. And before we get into the next arc, we're going to be having these little glimpses of some of the characters' past and seeing a little bit more of what they're all about. And getting these glimpses of how they came to be the people we know in the position they are in town now. Tonight we're going to see something a little bit different in regards to what is going on just before a big adventure begins. And we're also going to see into a part of the world that we've set up here that maybe some have never seen before. Hopefully, all of that with internet connections surviving, we'll be able to tell you all of these great tales, because tonight is another great example of what we witness when past is prologue. Evin, our local unassuming shepherd. It is morning in Wormwatch. In terms of time, it is about a month before all of this weird, wild story began. When Wormwatch was just another town with plenty of locals, all trying to do the best they can in this brand new settlement that they've established. Farmers, miners, millers, artisans, craftsmen, and even people just looking for a fresh start have essentially now, at this point, their real cemented point in town. Why don't you let us know what Evan's background was like before their family settled in to this town?
Well, Evin didn't settle with a family. She settled by herself. After coming from Valinar, after some strange things happened there, and so she settled into town and is still building a bit of a rapport with some of the farmers, but she's really good with animals, and so she acts as like an interim shepherd, just going between farms and helping out.
And at this point in time, the morning routine that happens for you, you, as usual, start your day off with another conversation as one of your friends is just enjoying their morning meal, while you decide to discuss the daily goings on, and they're acknowledging you and, indulging this behavior, as you're one to always bring a good meal. Oh yeah, yeah. So tell me again. You know, this whole magic thing you were talking about. That's interesting.
Yeah, yeah, right. So like the the thing is like I don't rightly fully understand like where it's coming from all the time. Sometimes I think it's from somewhere inside me, and then sometimes I think it's from somewhere like outside, like in the ground, maybe, or in the air. But
Hmm.
like I
Yeah.
can like, do stuff like
Like what? They take another big bite of
well,
their food.
like um, and she like does a little druid craft uh in her hands, um that just plucks a seed out of her pocket and then just like makes it pop open, like
Oh
that.
yeah, yeah. That's something.
Yeah,
Yeah, it could help with whatever whatever else you're doing around town.
yeah, yeah. I try not to like flash it too much because I don't want people to like look at me funny if it's
Oh,
like not
people
a thing.
around here don't like that. Is that a thing? I'm not
Well, I
really.
don't.
I don't pay too much attention.
Well, I don't really rightly know either is the thing. I'm just like, I'm trying to figure it out. Um, this place doesn't seem like too bad a place to be in.
No,
So
I mean I like it here. I've been here a couple, at least a year now, and people treat
yeah,
each other rightly.
yeah.
You're certainly a bright spot to my morning all the time, bringing me a nice
Oh,
breakfast. I mean that's hospitality if I've ever heard it.
oh. Well, I do try and be friendly sometimes. Like the people around here kind of like stick to
Hmm.
themselves mostly, and I kind of like that for me because then they don't ask too many questions, um, and that kind of works out. But I'm glad that you're enjoying the food and stuff.
Oh, absolutely. It's about that time that you hear the footsteps of another individual coming in, another farmer that you're familiar with, Terrian, or Terry to locals. Terry, you do see Evan, another farmer you're familiar with about town, and having a very in depth discussion with a goat. To you, though, it's a one sided conversation as the goat is just chewing and gnawing at this bowl of food that Evan has brought. A not unfamiliar sight.
Oh, hello there, Evan. Mighty fine day we're
Oh,
having, right?
yeah, yeah, Terry. Hi. Yeah, I think it's a fine day. Yeah,
So it seemed like you were talking to somebody there, pretty in depth. What
yeah.
could you do? Talk to each other?
I understand him well enough, I think.
Really?
But
Wow.
to you,
Oh,
Evan, that was, you know, where's he come off?
man.
Now, that's not very nice. Terry's a nice man, I think.
Sure wish I could understand what Chuck was saying half the time.
Chuck?
Oh, Chuck. Yeah, he's Mox out there. He,
Oh, I could probably tell you what he's saying.
you could?
Yeah,
Wow,
maybe.
that'd be pretty chipper, wouldn't it? Wow.
Uh,
Yeah,
If there was
can
Chuck.
you
something that you really
describe
wanted
Chuck
to.
at this point, Terry?
Chuck is basically a longhorn steer,
Hmm.
uh, with more of an oxen body to him, a little bit larger. Um,
Yeah, so Chuck actually took a liking to me, and I have no idea why. So if you could tell me why he likes me so much, maybe I could do more of the things that he likes.
I mean, yeah, sure. Is there anything in particular you wanted to say to him, or do you just want to find out if why he
No,
likes you?
what? No, I just would be curious why he likes me so much. I mean, he follows me everywhere, so I've taken to actually strapping him up to my wagon and coming into town and getting supplies. He don't mind. At least I hope he doesn't. Oh my, what if he does? You might want to find that out.
I mean, if he comes with you willingly, he probably doesn't mind. It's kind of like me and Tessa May. Tessa May's my sheep. She's a good sheep. She's actually where's I
You
don't know where she
see
is.
that Tessa is actually skipping around. Is it's a bit smaller at this point in time, and
Hmm.
is just kind of like hopping around the area where the goat is eating, and is just kind of like playfully just nudging at the hay barrels that are around in the field.
Tess, Tess, Tess. Oh, she's fine.
Looks like she's having a good time.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I try to make sure that she's like well fed and well groomed and all this stuff, but mostly she just is doing her thing.
You're good with animals,
Um,
right?
yeah, sort of.
Are you good with plants too?
Oh, I'm better with plants than with animals.
You
Um,
are. You don't say.
well, yeah, because back before I came here, I was doing farming in Valinar, and then there's a lot of plants and stuff. And then afterwards, I became better with animals and stuff.
Very interesting. You looking for a job?
Yeah, always. Why?
Well, I got some work out on the ranch. Got a few problems coming up, and I was wondering if you got the talent for it. I mean, your services would be most appreciated.
I mean, I'm not gonna sell you no guarantee that I can fix whatever problems you're talking about, but I will come and look. You gonna pay me?
I can't pay you too much. I got 9 mouths to feed. Uh, your wife,
Nine.
Ellen, and yeah. I got my wife, Ellen, and my 8 kids that I brought over the Endworld Mountains over here. You see, do you know my pa? Um, his name's Darian, and I was sort of named after him. Tarian, it's just family thing, I guess. I don't know. Uh,
Right.
but he had the cattle ranch outside of town, and he passed away a little bit ago, and left the,
Okay.
the the ranch to us. So we had to come over here and take care of it. Um, I'm not much of a rancher. I don't know too much about cows, which is why I'm curious why Chuck out there likes me so much. But I must be
Okay.
doing something right. But the rest of the cows, you just gotta see. They're acting kind of weird. But uh, yeah. But I can't pay you too
Okay.
much. But I can pay you some. And room and board, meals, all
Oh,
the vegetables you can eat.
room and board and meals? Oh, well, that sounds fine. Um, don't worry too much about payment at the same time, because again, I don't know if I can fix what's wrong, and I'll feel kind of bad if I can't fix nothing. Then you pay me.
That'd be all right. Yeah.
All right. Well, show me your. Wait one sec. Tessa May. Tessa.
Yeah.
We're we're going with this gentleman to his farm now.
Okay. Just hops along with you. Terry, you see a very expressive sheep. Um, uh, it's it's odd. I mean, like it's not like you come to know the personality of the livestock that you have, but this one is like expressive.
You said their name is Tessa.
Yeah, Tessa May.
Super rambunctious. I had a goat once. It wasn't that lively at all. Laid around most of the
Oh.
time. Come to think of it, it might have been dead.
Oh.
No. Yeah. Well, either way, it was when I was 3, so I don't know.
You remember things from when you're 3?
It's a weird thing. Every now and then I get something.
Oh. I don't really remember anything before I was 5.
Really.
Yeah.
I should probably have that checked out.
I'm sure it's fine.
Evan, give me an inside check. And Chris,
Okay.
you can roll deception or persuasion. Just don't tell us which one you rolled.
Oh my god.
See, this is
Inside.
the one thing I love about doing PvP insight is if the other rolls high, you have no idea if they're lying or not.
I rolled a 9. So
I got a dirty 20.
Oh, okay. Well, Evan, there is no reason not to believe that Terry has an impeccable memory.
yeah. Absolutely, it's fine.
So, you become Terry and Evan. You now have a wonderful working relationship in this town, and a week goes by, and Evan, you have proven your worth 10 times over. You Terry, you see that there is a good rapport that Evan has with your livestock. Evan, actually, why don't you take us through your own special methods of helping Terry out on the farm?
Okay. So with the plants, um, I mean, I think in terms of spells, she could probably hit it. But how are the plants doing? Is the thing, because that would determine how if they're like looking a bit wilty or the soil is a bit lacking in nutrient, then she might work on developing plant growth. Um, but uh, for the cattle, like are they sickly? Are they just acting strange? Are they up and about? Are they laying in the fields and not moving?
Well, Terry, at this point, you can roll either nature or animal handling, and that will determine the fate of your farm at this point in time.
16 plus 1, 17 for
So
nature.
fairly good. You can interpret that as you will.
Okay.
Okay.
So the main thing is I'm not sure if pest crews are getting in the crops or what,
Right.
but some of the yield isn't there. So I'm pretty good with plants. It's what I used to do before I moved here.
Right.
But maybe the soil is a little bit different. I'm not familiar with it.
Right.
But they're not wilted. They got a little bit of discoloration around the outside of the leaves.
Mhm.
And like I said, the yield is about half of what I'm used to getting out of something like that. So they're producing this. The vegetables are a little bit smaller. The fruits are just a little bit less juicy.
Yeah.
Things like
Okay.
that.
Well, I think there is something that I can do for that. It's gonna take me a little while because I ain't never done it before. Um, uh, but there's I think if I can concentrate for long enough, then I might be able to do something that's gonna help your plants grow a little better, and then maybe like help the soil get a little richer, and then that should probably like make your yield a bit better. The only thing, I feel like I'm gonna have to concentrate for a long time, and sometimes I just get tired and then I just try to finish, and then I end up with like just like a bundle of vines everywhere. um
Well, as long as they're not
so
invasive and they're not going to choke anything out, go for it.
no, it's not like that. It's just um like what you have. So it's like if you have like, let's say some like broccoli or something, then you'll just get like really leafy viney broccoli.
So I'll get
um,
extra of whatever I have.
yeah, but just for that one thing. And if we're talking about like your whole farm, if I just need to like focus for maybe like 7 or 8 hours.
Oh wow, that's a long time.
Yeah, that's why I tend
You
to
need to
end
make
up
sure to
just
take breaks during that time. All right, it's hot out here. The sun
yeah.
on your
I know.
on your bean skull. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I tend to just kind of stop halfway
Yeah.
sometimes. But you know, like that I should like if I do it at night when it's cooler, you know.
Maybe, but there's weird sounds at night sometimes, so you might just keep Chuck close by.
Yeah, maybe. It's a big oxen.
Mhm.
What DM?
Yes.
What moon? What month? What moon is out?
What? That is a good question. Give me one moment. I
Yes.
will get that for you. At this time, it is currently. Oh, darn it! Of course, there it is.
Because I think it's Olarun, but I want to be sure.
Right now, it is Olarun. Yes, you are correct.
Yay!
Just at the tail end of Olarun, our equivalent of February.
Okay. Well,
It is actually a few days after the third anniversary of the 20th of Olarun. Keith Baker, I'm looking at you for some of these pronunciations. Which is the anniversary of the Day of Mourning. Coincidentally, are the crops having an effect on this? You can give me a nature or arcana check.
I'll do nature because that's much better.
Okay.
Not natural 20.
Ah, very nice. You have a strong sense that well, let me ask you, do you think your character believes in coincidences or not?
Yes, but she doesn't like them.
I will let you then interpret that as to your thoughts on whether the two correlate.
Hmm.
The Day of Mourning being, of course, the cataclysmic event that ended the last war, which went for 100 years, and whose effects essentially enveloped an entire nation, formerly known as Sire, in wild magic, which is the most disruptive and unpredictable source of magic ever.
Okay. Right. Actually, Terry, if I were to stay up, like I know you have like your children and stuff, and your wife, and you'd probably like to sleep at night. But if I were to stay up, would you sit with me in this being like your dad's farm and all?
Yeah, sure.
I just feel like if maybe you lend your energy and also possibly keep me awake, then the spell might work a bit better.
Yeah, I could sure do that. I'll make sure to bring Beverly with me too.
But
She'll help.
who's Beverly?
It's my farming implement.
Oh,
Some
like
would
a
call it a hoe, but I
Oh.
call her Beverly.
oh. Okay.
Used to be my
Oh.
great grandpa's. Hmm.
You're great. Did he call it Beverly too?
I think so. It's carved in the handle.
Ah. Never thought of naming a hoe. Anyway. Yes.
It's my own fault. It's my own fault. Anyway.
But yes, so essentially what Evan's trying to do is cast the 8-hour version of plant growth.
Okay. So, what I'm going to need you to do is I would like you to give me a con save against your spell DC.
Oh, God. Okay.
Being that this is something you are doing to yourself for this long. You are really exerting as much willpower and strength to get this effective.
19. Yes. I beat myself.
There you go. You beat yourself. Wait. So many weird things we say in this game.
Don't think on it so
Terry's
deeply.
talking about naming hoes and I don't know what's going on. So you channel this druidic energy and you start to get incredibly harsh feelings of negative energy suddenly. But it feels like they're coming from a distance. And it feels like the energy is getting closer. And in a weird way, you feel like it's some sort of it's almost like a negative energy in the form of a storm, but concentrated and at a single point, coming from the west and moving closer and closer into this area of town. And it's almost like you can watch the trail. You can't exactly pinpoint its origin, but you do feel like this concentrated point of negative and deadly energy and magic, feeling like it's inevitably going to plant its roots into this part of the world. And you can sense it, but you just can't predict its arrival.
So can you
Evan-
talk while you're concentrating on this, or is it gonna be a real quiet night?
Talk. Do you feel that?
No, can't say that I
Something-
do.
She is going to extend an arm, and you know that over the few days you've seen Evan has one hand. Her right arm is missing below the elbow, but she's going to extend her left hand out to you. Terry, there is something wrong. Not here, but something. I don't know what it is. It doesn't feel right. It feels like magic, but it ain't natural. I feel like, I don't know, but I think this farm.
It's
You're gonna have
cursed.
to-
I knew it.
No, let's tear it. Just 1 second. Well, actually, maybe. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think it's this farm. I think it's whatever that thing is. And I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I want to know. I'm going to be honest. I don't know a lot of protective things, um, but I think you're gonna have to keep Beverly around a lot in the future.
Yep, me and Beverly will take care of it for sure. That and Chuck, you should see him ram a tree.
I'm sure he's very
Takes it
strong.
straight down. Straight down. It's great. You don't think any of that has to do with that new mine in town? My pa didn't like it at all when it came in. I had very strong feelings about it. But I mean, if it's towards progress and it don't hurt nobody, then it's all right. But if there's fishy business going on there, I don't know. Maybe my pa was
Did
right
it
about something.
did it feel like it was coming from the direction of the mine?
You can't quite pinpoint the exact nature. Um, you just know that there is something from the west coming into the direction of this. Maybe it's this town, maybe it's just this region, but something feels impending and it's not going to end well. It's so hard, though, to determine what kind of magic this actually is. It does feel like it's against nature, though.
Evan's just gonna do a little shiver. Um, this spell that I'm trying to do, um, it should hold if I finish it. It should hold for a little while. Um, if something is actively working against it, I don't know how long it's gonna last. Now, if your crops start to die off or something, um, then I'll come back and I'll cast it again. But I'm just warning you because you got kids and stuff um, to to feed. I'm just saying that there feels like there's something that is strong and not of the natural world.
Hmm. I mean, yeah, I've never just seen anything like this as far as plants are concerned. I've been growing plants for the last 60 years, and they ain't never seen nothing like it. I did have a couple pets. My pa was more of the animal handler in our family, but I've seen a lot of meat in my time. All right, uh, Dad was a butcher and all that other stuff as well. I mean, had to. I mean, you got a cattle ranch, you got to know how to butcher your meat. Um, but we started butchering them, and
Mhm.
there's something wrong inside it. Uh, the cows themselves uncoordinated sometimes. I just thought that was just cows how they walked. Um, but some of them were hard time walking. Some were having a hard time getting up. Uh, Most of the time, though, if they do get up, you don't want to be near them. They're very paranoid and violent sometimes. And Chucky over here is not violent at all. He's sweet little sweetheart. I mean, you've seen him. Uh, but yeah, we had to put a few of them down, just in the natural process of butchering them. Um, and there's a spot in the brain, a very particular spot, and it's oh, what did that one person call it? Necro necro necrotic. I think it was necrotic cyst cyst or bump. I don't know. Either one. It was something necrosis thingamajig.
Evan,
And
give me a Evan, give me a intelligence check. Just flat intelligence check. as something Tarian has said has stirred your brain a little bit.
I don't know if it's just bad water, because Chuck here drinks out of the well. He won't drink nothing else. You can't put him in the river and make him drink. He won't drink it. But I use that water over there to water my plants, and the rest of the cattle drink it. So it's gotta be water, right?
I could listen to an entire stream of Chris talking as Terry. I'm not joking, folks. This is one of the most delightful characters I've ever had the pleasure of working Chris with. I think Ren may have frozen.
Oh no. Well, it looks like you got your wish there, pal.
But the funny thing is
minutes
that
to fill. Let's go.
Ren looks so pissed
So
in
mad
this
at me.
frozen moment.
Oh,
Just
man.
looks so mad. Okay,
no.
well, Ren will come back.
Looks like she's not getting paid for
There they are.
the work she's doing.
There they are. Anyway, what did you end up rolling with flat intelligence, Ren?
I missed that I had to go.
It's okay. You're all good now. Okay. So when he says that part of the brain, and you hear the necrosis part of it, it clicks in your head. Necrotic energy. That's what I was feeling. That's what's coming from the west.
You know, Terry, my my family originally, I don't remember much of it, but my mom in particular, she used to talk about Karnath. That's where we were from. She used to talk about how there were these things that they would do to the soldiers that died in battle. Things that her and my pa saw that they never really wanted to talk to me about. You know, I was a young child and didn't want to share all of that. But they would talk about how if you died, you didn't die. Once you were a soldier, if you died, you were always a soldier, at least in Karnath. And it would give me this shiver up my back. And I only get that sensation when I feel certain things, and talking about your cows and what I felt just now, it gives me the same kind of shiver. And I don't know for sure, but it felt, what I felt like death. It felt deadly.
So what's that their word necrosis or necrotic or necrotism or whatever it is? You know what I'm talking about there. What's that word actually mean?
Yeah. Necrotic.
That one. That's the one. Is that something I should be worried about? Is there like a cream for it or
This is the most country, and I love every second of it. KJ is in our comments right now talking about how you, Chris, have embodied every one of their neighbors.
You're welcome, Wind West.
Don't worry, Evan will be back.
What's it? Something?
As a heads up, though, we do appreciate everyone's patience while we all try and balance our own respective internet connections, as we are literally connecting from points all over the world. Some of us on the very opposite side of the globe. And don't worry, other people from the other side of the world, they're worth the wait. I'm telling you. So, no, don't worry. So basically, Terry was asking what the origin of that word means to you.
Oh. What does it mean to me? It means death.
You said it was unnatural. Are we dealing with some sort of magic or something like that?
It's the way that it felt like it was moving is why I think it's probably magic. If your cows are being affected by whatever that is, Terry, I'm not sure I can help a whole lot. It felt a lot bigger than me. Like I can help with the plants. I can help with that, but
Well, I kind of thought that was the case, and I appreciate your help with all of this. Really do. And you're welcome here anytime. Mrs. will have victuals on the table whenever you need it, all right? And you can stay here. There'll be plenty of room here in probably 2 or 3 weeks. Looks like we're going to have to test each cow and see if they got it. And then if they do, looks like Low Cattle Ranch is at the end. We'll have to find a crop or something we can manage a little bit better, which should be fine. I wouldn't worry too much about it. I'm just sad I'm glad my pa wasn't here to see it, but I'm sad all of his hard work's kind of going to waste. My pa used to call this place the Low Fat Ranch. Had the leanest beef this side of the End-World Mountains. Yeah, you should be proud of that. Low Fat Ranch.
I'm sure he'd be proud of you for trying.
Thanks. I appreciate that. Hopefully, Chuck over here doesn't show no signs of that. I'll keep him under a good eye. But yeah, looks like the rest of them. And we're not going to get any benefit out of them either. I wouldn't let anybody eat any sort of that the meat from that.
No,
sort of
I
business
wouldn't
over
feed
there.
that to anyone.
Yeah, probably not a good idea. Can't have the law coming over here. Have you seen that Delilah person walking around town? Oof, man, she's scares me.
Yeah. I've seen her. I don't really
That's one I wouldn't tussle with at all. No, sure.
No, I wouldn't either.
And as more time goes by, another week passes, and unfortunately, a bad decision, a not a bad decision, but one that you didn't want to have to make, gets made as livestock, including Chuck, begins to dwindle, and they have to be taken care of.
No, Chuck's fine. Chuck is fine.
I'm not saying immediately. I'm just saying that in time, cattle will need to be taken care of.
Whatever that means.
Whatever that means. But we all know what it means. Don't you dare touch Chuck. Listen. You're not here, KJ. And this is in the past. What's happened has happened.
What's past is prologue.
Exactly. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, with each passing day, and unfortunately, the farm feeling less and less like a new opportunity and more feeling like a burden. Terry, at this point in our story, we are now just one day before you were formally introduced into the world. One day before a group of strangers, it seems, came to your farm looking for some assistance. One day before the entire town went to hell. What is on your mind at this point and what you feel is for any other farmer might be their lowest?
I think just keeping busy for the most part. Making sure fences are mended for whatever livestock might have a better chance in them. Weighing the options of, is it best to do livestock or should we focus more on crops, barley, wheat, that sort of things, large yield and useful. Just making sure that the family is taken care of as best as we can with that, and grateful because of Evan's help. I'm not sure if she's coming back every once in a while to kind of help out on just various chores, but even the time that she spent there, I think just thinking back on that, regardless of the difficult situation made with the cattle, the help that has been rendered, being newer to town and kind of taking over this big undertaking, having someone that is willing to lend that hand and put that much effort, 8 hours of concentration into, just helping you. Overall, just grateful for that.
And these are all things that you hold on to in what will surely be the darkest time before you even knew there could be a time darker than that. And Evan, the day before, or rather the day of, that the entire town seemingly went through an apocalyptic event concentrated entirely on the locals. What were your thoughts just before waking up randomly, surrounded by people that you knew as the protectors of this town in the middle of the desert?
Just before, I think she was still trying to figure out a way that she doesn't think on a large scale. She thinks about what she can do to help Terry still, because a part of her feels bad that she couldn't do more for the livestock, that she had to witness them being that ill and feeling that helpless with people. Like, there's a town doctor for whatever ails them, but animals don't really get that luxury that much. It's just, and so she kind of feels responsible, even though she kind of came into it mid. So she was still trying to think, racking her brain of some way she could do something more to help them.
And perhaps that opportunity may come. But at this point in time, you journey. And the journey ahead will be one unlike you've never seen before. But that tale will come in the future. And when we return, we'll see another glimpse in the past. This is the frontiers of Eberron. This is what's past is Prologue. And when we come back, an interesting conversation on a train leading to somewhere. We'll be right back. Hello once again, and welcome back to Frontiers of Eberron. What's Past is Prologue, Episode 2. I have been Michael St. Gregory. I still am Michael St. Gregory, I should say. I don't know what the past tense was for. I have been your GM, and I still am. Why am I saying everything in the past? Maybe it's just the theming of tonight taking a wash over me. Anyway, this is To Be Diced, and what we are is a collective of wonderful D&D players. Well, we think we're wonderful. We hope you do as well. We all participate in TikTok in some fashion, and a lot of them happen to be cosplayers, all of which you can check out. Chris earlier is a clay potter, and in fact, this is one of the ones he makes, and he made this for me. You can find him at @clay_beard. I think you can understand why that's a particular name. It's pretty obvious. Anyway, we also have other shows here. We stream on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays. If you haven't seen any of the other shows yet, first of all, I appreciate for me being your favorite, but also I think that you really should give the other ones a shot. Chris is going to kill me. Everyone's going to kill me. No, but please, check out all of our other wonderful streams throughout the week, which you can catch right here on our Twitch channel. But right now, let's transition to our next scene, rather. On Lightning Rail, the main mode of transportation throughout the continent. People come on and off, and they find themselves either knowing their destination or knowing that they want to get out of somewhere. This story is of the latter, where an individual has been on the train for several hours now, not knowing exactly where they're going to end up. As we see in one empty cabin, in a singular suitcase, Doc Davenport. Doc, we are in this point in time, a year after the Treaty of Thronehold, the end to the 100-year lasting war. Many of which, the worst parts, were in the last several years. All of which culminating in what is now collectively known as the Day of Mourning. when one devastating attack on the nation of Sire stopped everything in its tracks and made the continent of Corvair realize that the destruction was too much and that the war needed to stop. For some, however, the memory of war still goes on. And some find solace in continuing their military service, protecting their nation that they worked with. Some take up business in other parts of the country, using those skill sets that they've either acquired or brought to their time in service. Some didn't have the fortune of making those decisions. And then there's you. You've had a year to think about all of this. What's going in your mind as you sit alone on this lightning rail headed east to God's knows where?
So, let's see. Doc is sitting with kind of slouched in his seat with his briefcase next to him by his feet. And he's kind of has his eyes and his head kind of leaning out towards the window, and he's watching the world race by. But even as it races by, he's not really looking at anything. He's just kind of, the further away he gets from where he was at the station from the moment that he bought his ticket without even really looking at where he was supposed to be going, every foot, every mile that he gets away, he feels this weight kind of lift off his shoulder. And for the first time in maybe a year, he kind of closes his eyes and he takes a really slow, calm, controlled breath as he feels this overwhelming relief slowly wash over him. Like he's finally getting away and he can start a new life where no one will know who he is and he won't be responsible, and he can start all over again.
As you sit in this train car, you've seen people come on and off. You've watched faces of every type of patient you've ever treated pass by your car and by the window. Sometimes they almost blend together. And the faces disappear and almost the ailments become personified. Can you give me a wisdom saving throw?
Sure. Hold on a second.
One does not simply just walk through PTSD.
Absolutely not. Lore drop. Hold on. Let me pull my sheet up. Wisdom saving throw. 16 plus 8. 24.
You zone out, but only out of necessity. Because it's the only way to just tune out and block whatever intrusive thoughts may come into your head at this time. There's a small knock on your cabin, and you see kind of a gruff-looking individual, human, male presenting, just tips their hat and, pardon me, sir, is Sir Eberron here? Is this private? Just been looking
as
for
long
a
as you
seat.
promise not to cause any trouble, I'm not.
No.
Just here.
I ain't the sort.
Yeah. No, yeah. Go ahead and sit down. It's no problem.
I won't pay you no mind. Don't worry.
Yeah.
The individual unfolds a copy of the Sharn Inquisitive, and it's only then that you realize, oh, I stopped in Sharn. I'm in the city. As you look outside, and you can see you are at the station of Tavik's Landing, where midpoint in this elevated portion of the train stop, you can see out into this huge, sprawling metropolis. It's called the City of Towers, and for good reason, as you look straight up as much as you can out the window as they spires seemingly endlessly touch the stratosphere.
Oh my god. Ah, I don't know. I'm not really a city boy. I come from pretty humble beginnings, so you get this view every day, sir?
Oh, no, I ain't from around here. I was just coming by. But yeah, it's a hell of a place. Never been before?
It's actually my first time coming through. My first time on a train like this, actually. Seen a lot of new things. It's been a long time since I've kind of gotten out and about, but it's nice.
Oh, yeah? If you
So,
don't mind me
I mean,
asking,
what?
you're where
Huh?
where you hail from?
Oh, just a small little town. Probably wouldn't know the name of it or anything like that. I hardly remember the name of it. It's been so long since I've been there, but I'm just kind of traveling through. Don't really have a home, call home right now. I'm just trying to find a place to settle down, kind of, put my roots in, and just kind of start over maybe. Sorry, that was a lot. I didn't mean to.
No, hey. It's long rides on these things, and every now and then we need someone to talk to. Don't worry. I'm a bit of a conversationalist myself, so I welcome it.
It's good, yeah. It's been a long time since I've, like I said, I don't really get out that often, but so this is a pretty big trip for me. I don't even really know where I'm gonna be going as long as it's kind of far away from where I started. That's all. But,
Yeah, I hear you that. That is
yeah.
certainly some people end up doing nowadays. Well, with everything that's happening.
Ah,
It's a whole new world right now.
a lot of big changes, yeah. I mean, not to, kind of barge in, but what do you think about it all? Do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing? The changes that are happening.
Well, frankly, I was thinking of starting over myself. I served. I did my time. I was under the well, ain't no kind way to say it, but I was a mercenary. I was hired.
Oh,
I was the one that there was a job being needed and done. Well, they done give it to me.
so you gotta have a pretty strong stomach to handle a job like that, I imagine, right? So just kind of,
Strong stomach and heavy blinders.
I, I don't mean to offend.
Oh,
It's
no, no.
ironic because
No, you don't worry about that. That's all behind me.
yeah,
That's
that's good. Yeah. I
all
mean,
it was.
no offense or anything, but yeah, that's good. So I mean, what brings you to the City of Towers? You said you were kind of passing through to do business.
Well, yeah, just coming by to say goodbye to some folks, friends and family that happen to be in the area, as looking to pack up and start new over in the east. Here they
Oh
got
yeah.
some interesting opportunities over there in the well, there's one fella. He's trying
Huh?
to apparently build an entire new sovereign city out of all the refugees from Sire.
Really? Down east, you said this fellow's trying to
Well, I
build from
mean,
scratch.
about northeast from here, and not the most original name. We're trying to call it New Sire, but Might as well try.
You know,
No
all
further
we can do
east,
right now.
there's people trying to get rich quick with all the mining things that keep popping up.
Yeah, I've been seeing that a lot. I've been actually, I mean, I don't know a lick about mining, but I think it's a pretty nice deviation of career, given everything that I had to go through. So, yeah, I might, it sounds real nice. Might pick up mining, might, I don't know.
You don't look
So
like the
I'm just,
mining type, though.
no, sir. I mean, I've never held a pickaxe in my whole life, but
Well, ain't nothing
old
wrong with
dog can
that.
learn a few new tricks.
Every person has their set of tools that they're born to work with the best. What happens to be yours?
Doc kind of he opens his mouth to say something and then he kind of closes it and he kind of thinks as he feels this kind of random wave of his almost like his past catching up to him.
Mm-hmm.
So he kind of stops and he goes, "I was I'm a doctor, um,
Oh,
not not highly trained. A lot of my skill is picked up, just in the field, kind of what I picked up on. So
you were a medic and served.
yes, sir. Tough job.
That's
I also got to have a tough stomach for that. But I was good at it. I was damn good at it. But
mighty noble of
they
you.
don't. I mean, they don't need me anymore, and I didn't want to. I didn't want to stay with the military, so I decided I would, get out as soon as I could, and just kind of, just maybe help a small town, maybe new sire who might not have a doctor or something. I don't know. I haven't really thought ahead. I'm just kind of going wherever this train will take me. So,
Well, I'm a bit of a practitioner of clerical arts myself, but mainly just
sorry.
dabbled in it for particular, educational purposes and studies, and but in my field, I needed to understand a bit more about how people function and how to help them out if they were hurt. I was I don't want to get anything twisted. I wasn't some sort of like hired gun. I was more of the intelligentsia aspect of it, as they put it. Information, a lot of them folk tend to not use their brains as much, and well, they needed someone to balance it out.
Can I ask what kind of missions you would go on? I don't know if it's confidential and all that, but war's
Oh
over
no,
and
it's nothing as extreme as them dime novels will put it. But
yeah.
no, I was more about just going into fields of research that others might think a bit more dangerous or experimental, that wasn't quite there was more risk than reward.
What kind of? I mean, I'm a curious man myself. What kind of research did you do? That's so hush hush.
I feel this is I have not even introduced myself.
Oh,
Pleasure
goodness,
to meet
yeah.
you. My name is Clinton Hildwick.
Mr. Hillwood, nice to meet you. My name is Davenport. Doc Davenport is what my friends call me.
Nice to
Ah,
meet you.
look at that, hitting it off like best friends. We hadn't even known each other's names yet. I think this is gonna be a good train ride. Yeah, I'm excited to have met people like you. Since after the war, it's been a little bit, tough just kind of striking up conversation. But you and I, we got a lot more in common than I initially thought. Can I do a quick insight check on him?
Absolutely.
Hold on.
So, because this is before our campaign starts, I'm going to let you have +1 to this.
Cool.
So this will just be a D20 +1.
2 + 1, 3.
Fella's on the up and up, as far as you can
All right.
you can
I
tell.
trust it with my life. Okay.
Yeah, you're a little too distracted to know any better. And as the train starts again, the two of you start to engage in more conversation. and you find a little bit more about each other. You find Clinton was as much as the mercenary work that it may have been, you find that tends to be the more relative term that are used for house agents of certain dragon-marked houses, of which he kindly requests that you just... He will keep that particular house to himself. Inevitably, though, you do find that he did a lot of, the equivalent of corporate espionage, in terms of these kinds of going from, like, working in Metrol in Sear, which is, in Sire, which is like the equivalent of, it's like Silicon Valley. It is like the pinnacle of tech. It is the place where the highest research and development stuff of all fields, arcane, medical, technological, industrial, it just, all of it was meant to be right there, but it was so... Oh no. We may expect a few technical difficulties, but we will be always doing our best to work around it. This happened with Taylor last time, but we try to make do. You know what I should do? So I should make sure that when this goes out on YouTube, I cut around this part where I'm just talking. And for those of you playing along at home, who I know is essentially KJ right now, yes, that Clinton Hilltwig is the one that they're talking to on the phone, on the train. And Doc, are we back? Okay, we're back.
I'm back. Sorry about that. All right.
No worries. Yes.
Silicon Valley. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
You get to know each other. You find that he was doing work for as a dragon-marked house agent, and you tell as much as you're willing to tell in terms of your medical background. Which, while you discuss it, can you give me another wisdom save?
Okay, with a +1? Or no, wisdom save.
Yeah, so I'll say this is +2.
+2. Okay.
Yeah. Just because you rolled so well the first time.
Yeah, 17. 15,
17. Okay. The conversation lulls for a bit. And you can tell when certain topics come up, you do become a little bit more quiet. And your mind goes back to an earlier train ride in your life. This was on its way to Carneth, where you had been recruited with your brother. So this was so your mind goes back to an earlier train ride in your life in Carneth, where you're sitting alongside your brother, having been recruited. There's an energy that you two of you feel, and he looks at you, your brother Orin. Nathaniel, I think this is it. This is our moment. I just have this feeling.
I'm so excited. I can barely consider myself bigger. Can you believe it? They recruited us.
Yeah, but I feel like we have been fighting for so long to show our mettle and our worth. And now we've got it. Now we've got it. I'm so happy you brought me along. He says he's so happy that you brought him along.
My internet's having some.
It's okay. We're working on our best.
Yeah. I was worried that you were gonna like chicken out on me. You're always so. You know, you're always down here, and I'm always up here. And I thought you thought that my idea was gonna be too crazy because you think most of my ideas are too crazy. But I'm glad to have you along.
I absolutely thought this was crazy. I absolutely thought this was crazy. But then I saw that there was. You convinced me. There's some real good that we can do. Yeah, I know that you're more of the shoot first, ask questions, maybe later.
Confident type.
But you're getting trained to be a healer. They saw the potential in you. That's a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's cool and all, but I think the part that I'm most excited about is like being on the front lines. I mean, like, yeah, I'll do like some healing here and there because that's my job, of course. But I'm really excited, like, punch some bad guys, make mom and dad proud. Oh my god, I can't wait to tell them all the war stories when we get back home. Oh man, that's gonna be so exciting. But yeah, healing's cool too.
Yeah, I mean, if that's what you want out of it, that's okay. Just promise me that you will be coming back, because, look, I don't know if we're gonna end up in the same unit.
Maybe not, but I mean, but if we are, I'm gonna sneak around and find you. Even though I'm gonna send you notes. I'll break a few rules.
It's not like school, all right? It's a serious thing.
I know.
And there are
it's just
4 other countries going head to head because, I may not necessarily think that it's all for the right reasons, but maybe we can make enough of an impact where we can. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking way too.
You're
maybe
being
we
too
can be the
gloomy
ones
about
to
this.
help set things right.
Ladies love a war hero. I mean, I mean,
Right.
I think I'll leave you to the strategy, and I'll do what I do best. So we'll make a good team out of it. Like they're gonna love us. I'm so excited.
Just promise me that you won't do what you usually do, and you'll actually slow down sometimes and think about things before you do them.
If I feel like it, I'll slow down. But you're the one that's supposed to do that part, and then I'm the one that like gets things done, and then you explain it later to the people that it bothers. But I promise not to be a handful. I promise to take it easy, think slowly, like you always tell me. It's like you're my younger brother, but you act like my father, and I think that's hilarious. But it's whatever. You got good advice. I'm not very keen on following it all the time. So we'll see.
Trying to do what I know you would be doing for me.
Thanks, Oren. I know sometimes I give you problems and trouble, but I'm really glad you're here. I don't think I would have signed up if you hadn't signed up with me. So we're gonna get out of this together, and we're gonna go home, and war's gonna blow over, and I think everything's gonna be fine. I think everything's gonna be fine. Yeah.
Your mind now drifts back, speaking to this middle-aged-ish gentleman who's talking to you about a settlement that he's heard, that he's setting up his own kind of artificer work with, called Wormwatch. It's small. It's about, say, 100 folk there now, but mostly pilgrims. They're all part of that Silver Flame Church. I don't know if you ever heard of them, but yeah, that's
Never religious myself.
Myself neither. I've been more of more arcanicist, and just making sure the technical side of things. It's just how my mind works. You know what I mean?
Man aside.
Yeah. It's a I tend to think more on the logical things than, you know, faith ain't just been something I've been blessed to carry. But, you know, it looks like it's a bright opportunity for some real work to get done, and maybe be away from all the distractions that big cities like that one back there, and you know, they're popping up all over, and everybody's trying to be the next Sharn, but nobody ever wants to be just the first anything. I feel like maybe I could help some town become the first, and make the first. You know?
100 pilgrims is 100 brains with 200 hands. I can see it now. You're gonna build a small little town. It's gonna be prosperous from the ground up, bricks and everything. It's gonna be. I mean, shit. You're a very smart man, and I think that you have the determination and the skill set to pull something like that together. I mean, hell, I might swing by someday and ask to join your little group too. Your little, what's it called, World Watch?
Well, yeah, it's a nice little tent. You know why they call it that? I found out.
Why?
Well, apparently it comes from this whole. There was this like legend. It's some old folktale that comes from that area, but
I love stories.
Well, because it's situated at a point at the base of a range called the Endworld Mountains. Now, they call that because they thought, well, beyond these mountains, ain't nothing there. That was way back in the primordial days when they didn't know better. So, apparently, there was an ancient copper dragon that sat itself and basically had an army of wormlings, or you know, the different types of dragons. And when an army came through, I think that they say it was lizard folk. I think it was lizard folk that said they came in and they set up an outpost to protect themselves from the other dragons, who then this is where the story gets all weird. Like, did they go to a different island to the south, and that's why it's called the Dragon Watch Isle? Like, all these things, all these things just end up coming because of names. And this is where apparently Clinton has bored the doc into submission. This is always weird when we do one-on-one stories, and if internet problem happens. But again, we keep trucking. So as this story goes on, imagine, if you will, a train passing through forest, and then forest becoming arid. Arid's dry land becoming more and more desolate, until inevitably the train shows up at a small outpost. And your stories have, at this point, he has just basically told you just this whole etymology of town names and where they come from, and the fact that Wormwatch just became this host of where to search for the next invasion of dragons, if it were. But then just became a trading outpost. And at this point, you are about, several hours past Shard to the east, and arriving towards the bordered lands from Brelin into the Talenta Plains, where there are more caravans and deserts, but still one lightning rail that can pass through. It's a lot more connecting trains at this point. So he departs at one station in that he is going to be heading to. He tells you, Listen, I'm gonna be heading up there eventually, maybe within a couple months' time. If you happen to stop by and you're still looking maybe to set up shop or some sort of opportunity for, I don't know, whatever it is that I can help you out with, and he hands you a card, look me up there. And me and a few of my fellas might be able to, help you out. But,
I appreciate that. Thank you.
keep your chin up, kid. You're gonna do all right.
I sure will try. Thank you, sir. I appreciate this. I hope live through too well until I find you again. Don't miss me too much.
I do look forward to it. You have yourself a wonderful time wherever it is you decide to end up.
All right, you too. All right, take care.
And so, your mind drifts once again into memory, into time in the past. But this time it's an unfortunate, unpleasant one. You remember a storm. You remember the rain, the wind, the lightning crashing around you. You remember people falling, people unable to be saved. Life was being taken away from this world, one by one by one, amidst smoke, amidst firing of weapons and cannons and magic being dispelled and fired against each other, confusions. Your general bringing you in a moment of desperation for any sort of high-ranking official to come in and strategize some method of being able to save your unit.
Hold on a second.
Oh, you're still there. Okay.
Aha. Okay. Yeah, I thought it crashed, but it didn't.
You, along with your brother, are brought in under General Tullius of Karnath's army. It is a tent filled with no distinguished high-ranking official at this point. They are simply just in their gear, hoping for the best, and trying to figure out some sort of plan. General Tullius is looking just... You two, and he's pointing to you and Oren. If you have any suggestions right now, now would be the time.
How many men have we lost so far?
We've lost 50 within the last hour, and we are slowly dwindling. If those Warforged are to cross that line any further, we're done for.
Then we need to take the remainder of our men and stop them. We need to create a line. We need to go out there now. We need to put our men out there now.
Oren looks at you and is just like, "Are you insane? Do you realize how many we've already lost?
And do you know how many more we'll lose if we don't put more men out in the front and stop them before they get here?
You can't just throw them at them and expect for things to just work out. You do this every time.
What plan do you have? Huh?
I have been working with every single person that I know can survive, and I am at least glad that you're still here to heal who is still around and be able to at least, so we can, again, have a moment to think. Because that, and he points out to the hell that is outside, that is not what we prepared for.
It doesn't matter if it's not what we prepared for. They're coming at us, and you're taking all this goddamn time to think about a solution. We needed a solution from you 20 minutes ago when our men were still alive. If we can plan this out.
We have to do this.
We don't have time to think, Oren.
Every single time that you do this. I have been trying to be patient with my brother right here, sir. But this time I have to pull rank. All right?
General, all due respect, but we do not have the time to enact whatever plan my brother has. You see the Warforged out there, they're coming for us. They're going to be in our bunkers, they're going to be in our tents, and they're going to slaughter us at our defensive position if we don't put ourselves out there first.
And he silences the two of you and dismisses you both to your respective units. In just a few minutes' time, it feels like that not too long after that entire argument, you hear more crashing and more thunder and more extreme noises of pain, and you watch entire armies just be flung aside by these titans of metal and blade and just they are engines of destruction that are simply just barreling through row after row of soldiers. And eventually you think that this is it. There's no point to any of this anymore. You've lost. You try to regroup, and you try to find Orin and his unit, and in trying to save some of your own men, you rush in, and you see the impact at this point now. And a flash of bright white light blinds you. The direct impact of some kind of weapon. A blast throws up dirt, and you feel your leg go numb. You begin to crawl through the debris to try and find your brother at this point. Nothing else matters. And you do see him, mortally wounded, surrounded by equally wounded soldiers.
Orin. I'm gonna drag myself over to where he's at, and I prop myself up against the trench and turn him so that I can hold him and try to see what's wrong with him.
You see that essentially he has practically been thrashed to ribbons. He is whole and intact, but he is lacerated across his chest, his arms, his legs. He will not make this. Nor will any other soldier who has been suffered through the same awful and violent end. There are too many injured. There are too many dying, and you face a side of the war that you never thought you would have to face. You never paid attention to this part of the war. And now, with everything in you, there is some sort of extra feeling of willpower and almost divine attunement into the very healing nature and abilities that you were trained. And while you are able to close some of those wounds on your brother, it's not enough. And he looks at you and he holds on to you. And all he says, I just need you to survive this.
We're both getting out of here, man. Come on. We promised each other we'd get out of here.
He feels the the spells that you have been casting one by one as hard as you can, the energy depleting from you each and every time, as if almost you're giving your own life to pour into him, to heal up these things, just so that he can survive. And as you bandage him up clumsily at some point, and he is wincing with each movement, but you are casting each bit of curing into every single touch. You think for a moment, even if I can't save them all, I have to at least save my brother. And there is a moment where you think, maybe this is it. But in time, you are able to carry him back to your cleric tent. And there is a quiet, unsettling lull of the action. As the Warford soldiers aren't fighting anymore, they are just standing in victory. But for what? You get him under the care of those with higher abilities than yourself, the ones that you've trained in. And you think you did everything by the book. You realized you'd thought every single thing you could possibly done. He's gonna be okay. I at least saved my brother. And you end up spending the rest of that week recovering yourself. That week goes by and you wake up in a dragon-marked cleric house. Ramshackled, practically, but salvaged enough for you to be saved. Waking up in that one bed as a half-elf female-presenting individual, she sees that you've awakened at this point. Oh, Officer Davenport, are you okay? Take a moment, breathe. You're going to be in shock at this moment.
Oren, where's Oren? To help me up. I gotta hold on. My head's
Take
pounding.
a seat. Lay down. Stay laying down. You are under orders to rest at this moment. You do not have the ability. You need to. I'm going to get your supervisor. All right, just relax. And you do feel. Actually, I want you to. I want you to try and resist this calm emotion spell that she is trying to put on you.
Oh, okay.
So add a +2 to a d20 roll right now.
To just a flat d20?
Yeah.
7.
You fight it. You fight it, but even though you still feel the emotions, you're unable to truly express. So it's not like you're happy or you have any sort of malaise or anything. You just are unable to truly feel the way you feel you deserve to be feeling.
All right, go get your
A couple
supervisor.
moments pass by. The commanding officer comes over. Captain Holbrecht. Officer Davenport, it's good to see you're awake.
It's good to see you too. What day is it? How long have I been out?
It's been a week, son.
my God. Ah. How are the men?
A little over a week.
How are my men? Did any of them get out, or my brother?
This battle was rough on all of us. And we
I
tried,
know
just like you, to save everyone we could.
I should have waited. No, good. A lot of.
It's always during the emotional parts. And as you are going through these thoughts and these words are just trying to come out, despite you still being under the effects of this calmed emotion, he can see that you are tense and you are trying to grip through this. The captain looks at you and he says, "Your brother, I'm sorry, Nathaniel, your brother didn't make it."
What?
He died from infection from the wounds.
No, he didn't. I patched him up myself. I put everything I had into sealing everything off. I bandaged him up. I held him, and I
There was no way any one of us could have been able to patch up wounds so deep.
No, that
it was there was nothing we could do at that point.
I need to get out of this bed. I need
You
to see.
can't right now. You have to trust me.
This can't be happening. I gotta be dreaming. No, I gotta be dreaming. Oh my God. I've been out for a week. And this is when I wake up. There's no way. If you, I need your help to stand me up. And at this point, can Doc reach for, maybe there's like a blanket on him or some kind of cover? Can you take that cover off and check his leg?
Yeah. You will see that you are essentially in braces that are holding your legs together to heal. You would not be able to walk without them, and at this point you are unaware of how you can walk now with them. And it will take time. And time heals all wounds, as it says. But in that moment of you looking at your legs, holding on to them, and just trying to figure out literally what is your next step, you find yourself kind of holding yourself in that position again on this train. Thinking, what's the next step? When will it be? How will it happen? You hear the conductor call, and that at the next train station, it will be the end of the route. And you'll have reached essentially as far as you can go.
Right. This is messed up. And Doc's gonna pick up his bag and kind of, use some momentum to stand up and brace against the train stopping and kind of, brush the wrinkles out of his shirt and his vest and kind of loosen up a bit, and then very quietly under his breath he's going to go, Oren, I really wish you were here to help me with some of that forward thinking you were so good at. Because I don't know what in the hell I'm supposed to do all the way out here now. I gotta get better at this slow thinking thing, but I'll figure it out somehow. And he'll start to walk towards one of the doors.
And those steps are the longest, because it is a step towards a destiny you did not realize you were heading towards. A whirlwind of things happen between that moment and what will surely be the next big steps in whatever this journey has ahead of Doc Davenport. And thus concludes one chapter once more. And when we come back, our third and final tale of this particular episode of What's Past is Prologue, as we take a look into another realm. One that's never been seen before thus far, but one that surely has someone you'll recognize, just maybe not in the way you thought. We'll be right back with more Frontiers of Eberron, What's Past is Prologue. Stick around. and welcome back. For our third and final story, we take you to something a bit more traditional when it comes to fairy tales, as we begin with the classic Once Upon a Time. In a land known as Thelanis, the fairy court, a realm of rugged natural beauty, lush forests, crystal clear waters. Among the trees rise shadowy spires of enchanting beauty, surrounded by mesmerizing lights that look like dancing lanterns. Phosphorescent gleams on plants and stones, lighting the eternal twilight of this plain, while a multitude of stars twinkle in the sky. In this land, there are dryads, eladrin, nymphs, satyrs, sprites, tritons, and all sorts of fey creatures far and wide. And among them is one that goes by the name of Jaslyn. Jaslyn, before you describe yourself, what is a typical day for this trickster spirit in this magical land?
Jaslyn tends to favor games of chance. Being that Thelanis is not frequented, but has its share of visitors on frequent occasion. He approaches to these visitors on a regular basis, trying to engage in game of chance for benefits that they don't necessarily realize will impact them as much as it should, or as they should be aware of. But so any types of games he could perform, or deals, anything he can acquire a bit of power from them in some shape or form.
These moments come when Thelanis is in existence parallel to the material plane in what is called a coterminous moment. Fairy rings, fairy mounds can be found, often accompanied by mysterious lights, and those draw in unsuspecting mortals to these cross-realm manifest zones, a place you like to frequent.
Mm-hmm.
A young child, probably around 12, long blonde hair, and a dark skin color to them, in these beautiful hazel eyes and elven features, is playing in this particular area that the world that Corvair would know as the Eldine Reaches. But when merging with your world, this becomes the Twilight Demesne, a towering wood where the plant life becomes fantastical, where light emanates from mysterious sources in the sky and even the plants themselves, but the slow blend and unsuspecting changes is what really makes people think that this could be walking through a dream. And you see this small child walking around, looking in wonder at everything, and they come across you. A small gasp as they see this figure before them. Well, Jaslyn, why don't you describe what you look like?
What this girl sees before her is a 5 foot 4 inch tall, 5 foot 6 inch tall rabbit-like creature that stands on two legs. Big, brown, friendly seeming eyes, white coat all the way down. Just where has a basic tunic on with a little neckerchief to add to the ornament of his appearance. Just has to have a little flair to him, of course. Just long whiskers, and he just watches the little girl approach and just observes, waiting for her to make the first move or
This little child, this little girl, she walks up to you and carefully, hello?
I'm sorry, dear. Are you lost?
Oh, you can talk. I've
Oh,
never
yeah.
seen anything like you before.
Oh, you're in for a treat. There's so many things here that you wouldn't believe can talk here. What
My
brings you
name's
here?
Clara. What's your name?
Oh, Clara, nice to meet you. My name's Jasler. Welcome to Falanas.
Really? Oh, my mother only told me about this place in stories. I didn't know it was that time when it was
Yes.
possible to walk into it.
You're in for quite a treat, my dear. This place holds so many opportunities for new venturers like yourself.
Oh, I don't know if I'm an adventurer, but I do love hearing the stories about this place.
Tell me, what's your most favorite story about Falanas?
I love hearing about the fairies.
Fairies.
Yeah.
You're in great company, my dear. I'm known to frequent the fairy community.
You know the fairy court?
Absolutely, I do.
What are they like?
Honestly, they could use a little lightening up, but
She giggles at this.
I'm sure for a child of your nature could still find their charm to be quite bewildering. Would you like me to take you to them?
She looks at you like she can't believe what she just heard. And she's just nodding furiously.
Oh my gosh. Okay. There is a certain stipulation that needs to be exchanged before we can embark on this adventure. We would you mind parting with at least one of your memories before we go?
My memories.
Nothing significant, just maybe like when the day you were born, something you wouldn't actually be able to remember.
No, I don't remember when I was born.
Right, so why would you need to hold on to it?
Make a persuasion check.
Any modifiers?
I'll say it's +3.
It's gonna be a 16.
Give me a moment. Okay. She is a child, so there's not really going to be much. Okay. I guess so.
Jaslyn will hold out his hand, waiting for her to take his.
She carefully puts her hand in your anthropomorphized hand.
Jaslyn will firmly grasp her hand and shake it. A wisp of magical energy will wrap between the two hands, or around the two hands, magically binding this contract that she. And then as he draws his hand away from hers, the magic recedes from her hand and travels up Jaslyn's arm, and the theatrics goes into his ear overhead.
Wow. Is that all I had to do?
Absolutely, my dear. And now I can take you to the fairies.
Okay. What will I see?
I can tell you, around this time, the fairies will probably be playing tricks as their usual MO on the unicorns at this time. So you'll also be able to catch them with the unicorns. Have you seen unicorns before?
No. I didn't know they were real.
Yes, they are absolutely real, my dear. And let me take you to them. We'll have to be quiet. We don't want to spook them.
And indeed you do. And you show her basically what this world has to offer. In a land where time works differently, it may feel as if this was hours upon days that have passed in just an instant. There's no real way to register when things happened. And yet you give such a wonderful tour of all of these things that she's just absolutely awestruck. And just around the end of your little journey, you see that the gate is closing of when the coterminous point of the plane's meeting. She is now on the opposite side of you, where you met that nexus point. She looks elated, delighted. Will I ever see any of this again, Mr. Jaslyn?
That's a good question. If you know where to look, you'll be able to find us every 7 years.
Oh, I hope so.
I would suggest trying to find the same place that you found us before, but it's not always guaranteed.
Okay, well, I'm surely going to try my best to come back.
And I'm sure you'll see me here again as well.
And as Clara walks away, every now and then turning around once again to give you a small goodbye wave, you see her fade as the Fey realm extends out now into the horizon, with none of the material plane in front of you. And another deal struck. But this one not nearly as heinous as perhaps as other tales. However, it is not without judgment, as an Eladrin elf, tall, stoic, standing in front of you with Triton in hand, as this elder statesman of a guardian looking down upon you, which isn't that hard, but then again, they are an Eladrin, so they are very tall. They are very majestic and flowing in just by their very nature. This is Mordred. Mordred is a guardian, and they are To say that they are a beautiful elf is not doing words justice. They are beyond they are what elves aspire to be. They are the most of the time adorned with a wooden mask as a sign of being a guardian, but this particular one holds no need for it, as they are essentially one of the higher ranking seen of in the by the Archfey. This Mordrin is known as a Berlani, which is a noble Eladrin. But in this particular one, they guard the Nexus points, these manifest zones, and they have been watching you. Jaslyn, why must we continue to trick children? Their innocence needs no... Their innocence needs no...
Yes, we've been over this many times before.
Listen, there are only so many ways that I can try to eloquently put to you to stop messing with the mortals.
They just make for easy targets, I'm sorry.
That is so... Do you have no shame? Stealing memories from children who have yet to even form their own distinct memories.
As if they're going to miss the memories that I took. It's not that big. I don't understand what the problem is here.
You find yourself gambling far too much with the laws of this court. It's as if you enjoy testing your limits as to what our laws abide by.
As far as I'm aware, I have yet to have broken any of these laws, so I don't understand what the problem is.
And that is where you gamble too closely. Perhaps if you decided not to test the patience of the fairy court, and perhaps decided to use your abilities in the protection of these zones that you seem to dwell upon so easily.
It sounds excruciatingly boring. I'm sorry. Is there a point to this visit today?
We have been monitoring you, as per usual, and we told you that if you were to interfere once again, that you would have to be disciplined.
And what does today's discipline entail? What, a slap on the wrist?
You love games of chance so much. Well, then why don't you put your own skills to test?
And what do I have to gain?
Hopefully, you'll gain me no longer having to be a burden upon you, even though I believe it is the other way around. You are a skilled tracker, this is no question. What you are able to find, and while that others may seek, so naturally, and so effortlessly. It seems as though the very spirits of this realm have blessed you with a purpose. So I shall put a test to your purpose. And he holds up, out of nowhere seemingly, this gold coin. And he flips it in the air, and you see it flip up, and at the peak of its spin, just keeps spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning. And eventually you see it just zoom away into the distance and disappear. Your task is to find that coin and return it to the court. It is a simple task, one that I'm sure that you would be more than able to pass.
What's my time constraint?
You know there's no need for questions like that. You find it when you find it, and when you do, you return it.
You have yourself a deal. And he holds out his hand.
I may have been born in the night, but it was not last night.
You're quick. I'm gonna miss these little games.
Jaslyn, your
Yes,
time
dear.
begins now.
And without a word, he darts off in the direction he last saw the coin.
Let's roll survival for this. I will say, because of your skill and because of your being in your native land, roll advantage and add 2.
It's gonna be a 14.
14. That's sufficient enough. You will get distracted by the beauty that this realm every now and then presents itself. It's hard not to. You can't
Right.
help but appreciate the world. You conversate with some other fey creatures that happen to be passing by, and of course, some attempt to trick and distract you as well from your mission. But you quickly remember, yes, the coin. The coin is the key. And eventually you do find it in a pile of other coins.
Oh no. Uh-oh. You tricksy little minx.
And they are incredibly all similar.
Jaslyn just shakes his head. You really think you got me, don't you? All right. Let's get to work, shall we? He starts stretching out, cracking his knuckles, his neck, and he begins sniffing through the gold, trying to see if he can find the scent of the Eladrin.
Yeah, I will say this will count as an investigation roll, and we'll add +1 to it. Clever.
That's a 9. There's so many coins.
It's not going to be that you don't find it. It's going to be that you take a while to find it.
So many.
There are so many. So many. And you have it down to 2. 2 that seem incredibly close to being exactly the one that you need to find.
He's got a little sweat beating up on his forehead. All right. It's one of these two. You know what? We'll flip for it. He picks up a third coin. He flips it. Oh shit! That didn't go where I wanted it to go. Odds, heads, tails, evens. And that's odd, so he takes the odd, which is the heads, which is going to be the left coin. And tosses
That was quite a roundabout way of getting to. Odds, it's evens, and then that's heads, so that's left. What?
Don't know where I was going with that.
Yes.
Odds, left hand, evens, right hand. Odd went with the left coin. Tosses the coin in his right hand back onto the pile.
Do you still, I was going to say, do you still hold on to that second coin, though?
No. He tosses it into the pile. He knows the law of this land.
Holding on to that coin, pretty well, pretty confident that you found the one. You start to move along. You're flipping the coin. Oh, it's not bad. It's got a nice feel to it, flipping this coin. And you realize, though, every time you flip the coin, You end up flipping it at a point where you have to make a choice to go left, to go right, over that obstacle, under that obstacle. Stop to look at this particular item, or don't stop to look at this particular item of interest. And you find yourself, though, getting distracted now. Every time you are coming to a choice, you just flip the coin. To the point where it is almost like dictating your decisions. Every decision.
Oh.
And eventually you get to a singular point. And a point that you recognize again. But as we've established, time works differently. There's no real hours, days, weeks, months. It just happens. And you find yourself flipping this coin now at the spot where that young girl, Clara, found you. And you hear a familiar voice, but it sounds older. And you see an elven, blonde-haired, dark-skinned girl, but closer to a woman at this point, a grown woman. And she looks at you. Mr. Jaslyn. 7 years. Just like you said. I didn't know you would be here. I'm so surprised I found it again, but I followed your every word.
It's wonderful to see you again. Happened a lot sooner than I was expecting.
Well, I guess you could say that I was on holiday.
Holiday. I like the sound of that. Well, what brings you here today? Would you like to go on another tour?
I wanted to know if maybe you would like to come with me.
Where's this? Where are we going?
To my world. There's so much you've never seen here, I bet. I figured I would return the favor.
He begins. He starts to contemplate for a moment, twirling the coin in his hand, looking around, and then looks at the coin in his hand that he can't stop fidgeting. And he knows he feels himself about ready to go to flip the coin, but he stops himself and looks at the girl. Let's go, right now.
All right. And you take one step up, and you feel that world, your Fey realm, disappear behind you. And all that surrounds you now is just this strange and unusual world to you, because you can feel time passing by. Something you've never experienced before. Every second feels like the weight of experience and emotion and thought solidified, and you're trudging through it like mud, trying to literally reconstitute your entire essence to adapt to something that mortals go through their whole lives, not even understanding it.
This world. I can't find the words to describe what I'm feeling right now.
Clara looks at you. Well, maybe it's true what they say about your kind. Maybe your magic is realizing what it is that you've never experienced before.
Yes,
Maybe
quite.
that's the thing that you were lucky to have in the first place.
It's got a sweet sentiment to it.
You look down at that coin, and you see inscribed on it. On the one side, you have the head of an Eladrin elf. No idea as to whom this could be, but it is meant to represent a member of the fairy court.
Right.
And on the opposite side, you see the same heads. You didn't realize it at the time, but this coin was deciding your fate. And you look at it and you can see on the bottom the inscription, "We make our own luck."
So we do. So we do. So, Clara, mind telling me where do we find ourselves currently?
You realize at that moment, you're talking to no one. And you're alone in the woods. A lone rabbit. It's the first time that you realize what exactly you are, where you are, and what isn't going to be the same for you ever again.
He really took it off from me. He took it. He took it all. Oh no. Oh dear.
I would now like for you to tell us what happens over the course of the next few years as you are on the western side of the continent.
The first few days, Jaslyn spends his time learning how the ways of the world, this new world, works. Understanding how deals are brokered, how to provide for himself, how to navigate social encounters, discovering what abilities he still has, if any. The first town he encounters, he takes notice. The first thing that sticks out to him, which is the Western clothing style, the cowboy hat, the boots, and he starts to piece himself together based off of those accoutrements, piece by piece, building his new persona, creating a new identity for himself in this land under the name of Holiday Luckfoot. Starting out working in law enforcement, quickly learning that he doesn't like that side of life, so he finds a bridge in between in bounty hunting, and he starts as the years go by playing on both sides of the line of law, bringing in criminals, but also seeding his own unfavorable empire, is a way to put it. Nothing of like grandeur, but he knows only living on one side of the law is only going to get him so far. So he adopts a new voice, new cadence, and he now works as a bounty hunter for hire.
The one thing you do notice, as long as you're holding on to that coin, you realize that no one questions the fact that you're a heron god. They know that you're unique and you have a certain charm about you, but they can't quite put their finger on it. It's that one piece of glamour magic that still resonates without you having to think about it. Tell me about a moment, though, between leaving Thalanis and starting anew that you felt okay to reveal the whole self, if there ever was a time.
I would say the closest he would ever have gotten to revealing his true story is if he would have ever encountered Clara again. He wouldn't have told anyone else. Vizier might have been the second closest person to learn that truth, but that opportunity was cut short when he removed himself to be with his family. So I would say he's still keeping.
I'd say in
close
your
to his
early
chest.
days, then, maybe in your first year in Wormwatch,
Mm-hmm.
when visitors were looking to either settle there or use it as a transition point to get to the next town, you recognize a young, dark-skinned, blonde-haired elven girl, just about the age appropriately they could be. And you see that they just barely are able to recognize you. And they don't quite ever really approach you, but there's something that just lets them know, I feel like like a deja vu feeling.
Holiday would also notice, but would himself also not be willing to compromise his new identity by approaching Clara, who this would be Clara. He would send his familiar to watch over Clara as she passed through town and watch over her. Just keeping a watchful eye over her, making sure she's safe. And
in that small time of visiting, able to have this sense of feeling protected, you feel satisfied knowing that you are still able to be a presence in the figure that truly changed your life unintentionally. And now you come to a crossroads again. You hear at this present time right now the rumblings of chaos outside of your town. The last thing hearing about all of the conspiracies and all of the wrongdoings that certain individuals in this town, your town. This is your town as far as you're concerned. To hell with the elder. To hell with those who run the operations. You are the operations in this town. But none of that is going to matter when a choice has to be made. And a bloodthirsty bandit has their hand wrapped around your throat, looking at you with a thrall in their eyes you cannot escape. As you reach for your coin one more time to flip into the air and make a choice. What that choice will result in, we'll have to find out another time. Thank you for joining us tonight here on our second episode of What's Past is Prologue on Frontiers of Eberron. Thank you to all of our players tonight, as well as everyone who watched on our Twitch feed. Please make sure to tune in next week for more stories, including our first look into what actually may have happened at a climactic battle of the last war. And then, the following week, we begin our next amazing arc through the Endworld Mountains, where the very sanity of our party will be tested. But until then, please continue following us here on To Be Diced Adventures for more amazing D&D games, and also just great episodes of TBD Talks, where myself and several other cast members just hang out, talk about what our favorite moments from different adventures, and what to expect. So follow us everywhere online at To Be Diced ADV, and be sure to tune in for another amazing D&D adventure here, To Be Diced. We'll see you next time, everybody. Thanks for watching.